My name is Abby Victor. I am 20, almost 21 years old, and I am the lead producer and videographer at ASI Communications Video Productions, and I'm also a student at Cal State Long Beach. When I was like 9 years old, I knew I wanted to be an actor and be in the film industry and the TV industry. Oddly enough, I was only 9 years old, but I already knew that, so I convinced my parents to move out to California with me, and I've been here ever since, acting and singing and performing. Just naturally, I was attracted to directing and producing and just being on the other side of the camera as well, so that's kind of why I decided to pursue it in college, and I've just fallen in love with directing and producing and cinematography. So freshman year, in the film department, you are automatically in the film department. You don't really have to apply to get into any specific major. You're automatically in. And then in your sophomore year, you can apply to get into the portion of the major called narrative production. And that is split into two halves, which is directing and producing, and then cinematography. And that is the side that you have to actually apply to get into. You have to have a resume, and you submit a video and everything like that. I knew I definitely wanted to do that because I wanted to be in directing and producing, so I applied and I luckily got in. And it wasn't until I got into those classes versus the regular film classes towards my junior year this year. The numbers of women, there's like hardly any of us, which is kind of weird. The one that you have to apply to get into, there's less women, it seems like. In my classes now, they're much more hands-on, and it bugs me because I feel like I'm pretty much the only woman, or maybe one of my friends that's a female, and we actually do the labor. All the other girls in my class just sit there on their phones, or I don't know, just don't do as much work, and I'm sure it's because they feel intimidated, but I feel like they don't have as much respect in the classes and don't get noticed as much because they don't really do stuff. And it's kind of frustrating. I wish they would actually get up on their feet and do stuff and kind of assert themselves, because that's just what I've learned to do. If you want to do something, you have to do it yourself. You can't just wait to be asked to do it. So I hope that these other women in my classes, that they somehow figure that out so that we can support each other and kind of figure it out. And I've tried to tell them, but it doesn't always work out that way. I don't want to be annoying, like, do something. So at my on-campus job at the video marketing company, I'm the only female producer, and I'm the only female producer that they've ever had. I started out volunteering, and then I became an intern, and then I was hired as a producer, and now I'm in the lead producer position. There haven't been that many female volunteers even, or interns, and I think it's just the industry in general. So since there's so few in the main pool of applicants, it just makes sense that I'm the only female so far. With my volunteers and my interns, those ones that are female, I try to encourage them and assure them that they can have this position when other producers are moving on. So I just hope that I can kind of be someone that my volunteers and my interns can look up to, and not just because it's all men. I definitely love the Time's Up and the Me Too movements. I think it's about time that we finally had this come to light, especially in the entertainment industry. I know it happens in every industry, obviously, but I think the entertainment industry is just even more so subjected to this type of behavior or kind of hush-hush culture about it all. I'm happy that it's happening now while I'm in film school, so by the time, hopefully, when further along the line, I can become a director and producer of my own, potentially have my own company, it's a little bit easier. The more people talk about it, the more we're likely to actually implement this into jobs and workplaces and stuff like that, and just the culture. It's obvious that on any set, or the amount of women is very, very, very few, and there's just not many people to look up to besides actors, I guess, actresses. I'm really hopeful, and I think that the Time's Up and the Me Too movements, it'll just be so saturated within our culture that we won't really have to worry about it. And when stuff does happen, we won't tolerate it at all. Especially that will definitely just happen with having women in power and in leadership positions. We won't tolerate that at all.